do software, hardware, cyber, one other thing. I got pretty much every cyber-related sim on Steam. If there's other ones and you think that I don't have it in my library, please let me know. Let's see. Yeah, I've been going to Defcon since 25. Only the States, though. I think Bahrain and Singapore are coming up soon, so I want to go to those. And I've been contributing to the Hackman CTF here. Some of you might have done it. I've been doing that for 3 years. So that's a bit about me. And this is Ram.
Hi guys, I'm Ram. So my background is in aerospace and automotive security and embedded systems. For the past 2 years, I have been doing cybersecurity, so SOC, DFIR, all that good stuff. This is my first Defcon. It's been absolutely amazing. I had the awesome opportunity to help out on this project with Preston. We've done a few together, but it's been good going back to my roots, and I have the honor of helping with the Hackman CTF as well. So, hope you guys have fun, and we'll be here if you guys have any questions.
Thank you.
And if you have a lot of questions on the things, he actually helped a lot. He's being humble. He actually was very critical to the R&D of the badge itself. He knows a lot more than he's coming on with. All right, so we can start with this. PSA, don't be dumb. Radio frequencies can cause cancer and can do things. None of the things here, well, I'm sure there's something that's going to cause cancer. But the badges are very low transmit. If you get them working, it's not an issue. But fun fact, if you actually go to your nearby mountain or some kind of cell tower, there are actual signs from the FCC that will literally say that the transmitted power is within the acceptable limits of human health. It is literally a thing. So all the conspiracy of all those like 5G towers and whatnot, it's like an X-ray. You know, when you go through to the hospital, you have to wear that lead vest. That stuff does matter. So if you're going to go home and soup up your RF modules with crazy amplifiers, you will probably grow a third arm or something. Who knows? And also, it is basically not great. Well, actually, it's not legal to transmit, especially at high power, because you're going to do things like that. You're going to disrupt aircraft, you're going to disrupt communication systems and all sorts of things. So, again, PSA, do not take what you learned from here and go transmit a bunch of stuff. You're going to get the FCC at your house and maybe the FAA or other things. So,
that'll be a very bad time.
Yeah, so that's the PSA. Aside from that, we're here to have fun, so there's that. So, this is basically what we're going to go through. We're going to go through some stories of things I've seen in Ukraine, open Q&A. Again, if you got questions, ask me. I don't like doing a monologue. You can watch a YouTube video for that. We're here in person, let's treat it as such. Then we're going to go through our, just the basics, showcase how it works, the spectrum of it, showcase and talk over the basics of electronic warfare, different methods of attacking in electronic warfare, the basic toolkits for what people use on it, and then we'll have time to do it yourself. You'll be able to build stuff and kind of see how that works. All right. So, where do I begin? Okay, some of you may have been wondering, how did I end up in Ukraine? I just bought a ticket to Poland, that's actually it. And then I bought a ticket to Warsaw, and then I took a bus to the border. I wasn't even planning to go there at all. And I wanted to help. So in 22, when everything started, there was a lot of communities that went. There was everyone from the World Health Organization to the Red Cross, even Reddit was there. Everyone was there trying to help and things like that. So I came up in probably about May, and I was able to see what was actually happening. I was seeing entire waves of refugees come across the Polish border into Ukraine to go out into Germany or Czech or even as far as Spain and Portugal. So I was seeing a lot of that going on. But after a while, the people that were in the most need stopped crossing. and the only people that were left were people that were there just to kind of mooch off of all the free stuff that the NGOs were giving out. So I didn't come there for that. I went a little further. It just started with me crossing over the border to hand off some supplies, logistics, and then I came back. And then I went deeper to Lviv, and then I came back, and then I went to another city, and then I ended up eventually going all the way to Kharkiv and Dnipro, which is about 20 miles from Russia. So, yeah, stepping stone. Don't cross, or else you're gonna end up further and further. So, while I was there, I've done a lot of interesting things. Probably one of the reasons why they switched from Mavics, standard drones, over to FPV, and then now one of the forces that are helping them to switch over, well, they're switched over now. You might have heard of the fiber optic drones. We were having so much issues with jamming, we said, screw it, you can't jam a cable, and that's what they're doing now. And now we're moving on ways to help detect that signal inside they're using it, and they don't give up RF signals. So I've been pretty involved with the R&D and tech labs over in Kyiv, some in Lviv and Ukraine, and so being there, especially for 3 years now, I've seen a lot of interesting things. And it's not sporadic. It's heavy activity during the summer. They call it fighting season because the roads are dry, the visibility is good, and the weather's solid. And then in the winter, things slow down a little bit. So I was actually just over there about 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to be going back in another 2 weeks. So this is all kind of a precursor, and that's basically the gist of that. Now, the things with drones, I have no pictures, but we've got the story, is the situation in a modern world with RF is that you have things that are going to transmit data. Now, in the scenario that we use data, everyone pretty much has a cell phone. We receive data via cellular internet, calling 5G, whatever it is. And we know, we experienced this probably a few times, is when we go to an area where it's a dead zone, you're on a call, and all of a sudden it stops, right? That's one form of interference, but it's not intentional. It's probably because you just drove under an underpass or something like that, and you lost signal. That's just due to how the frequencies work. So you can think of frequencies like airwaves or water that floats in space, and if there's literally objects in the way, then the water gets disrupted, or that signal gets disrupted, and you won't be able to have that signal to your phone. And so there's going to be a lot of visualization that's required, especially when it comes to how these things actually transmit. Because when we use our phones, we don't actually see any antennas or anything like that. We just see the design that the tech companies keep fighting over. But in the outer shell of the phone, there is an antenna. There is something that is a little wire to kind of receive the floating signals in the air. And so with the focus on what's happening over there, you get to see a lot of it. And also, because of the scenario, I was able to see a lot of things that are completely not okay here, including high frequency usage and the counters to those things as well. So there's not only transmit, there's going to be also frequency. So we're just going to get into that, and then I'll pause for questions and things. So, okay, the basics of RF is that, again, like a flashlight, it's going to have a signal, it's going to move in a certain direction, and it's going to be on a certain spectrum. You can kind of think of it like a color, right? And so there's a lot of these different frequencies on the RF band that we'll gloss over, but these are basically just like this projector itself. There is a source, it's got a frequency power, and it basically shoots to the destination. You can block it like with your hand or something like that, or you can use something else that matches that frequency similar. So if we turned on the lights in the beginning, you couldn't see much, and now we dimmed it down, this has the ability to focus on this frequency. Alright, so the frequencies themselves. Now, again, keep in mind, I'm going to be talking about the specific experience I've gotten since going over there. I'm sure there's a lot of like theoretical stuff, but the stuff that works is what I'm showing you. And so, radio, just like imagine a fire hose. If you're like trying to put out a fire or something like that, or you're watering a garden, the water's going to come out in a very if it's like a normal hose without a head, it's just going to come out kind of low pressure, and it's just going to go out of the hose. If you've got a lot of water going through it, or if you have a larger hose, then it will have the ability to shoot out more water. Or if you have a tighter head on the hose, then it will be able to shoot out in a more pressurized way to go further. So that's kind of the same thing with RF. And the sooner that you can kind of think of RF like water, then the easier it will be to understand how you can focus its energy to go further. Some RF signals go 10 miles. Some of them go even further. Some signals you can communicate with the International Space Station, right? And then some of them, as you may have experienced, barely can reach your garage from your router, right? They all have different levels of strength, different focuses, and so there are going to be different ways to be able to shape that. And so in RF, the hose head attachment is going to look something like this. This is called a clover head antenna. These are really common in jammers, since what they do is they make a similar field to what you're seeing, that toroidal spear shape. It creates basically a 360 energy field around the antenna, which is good for 360 coverage. There are other antennas, there are other antenna types out there that are going to focus it anymore. Does anyone have a Yagi that they're wearing or something? Yagi? Oh, okay. Basically, there are other types of antennas that will focus it in a single direction. Some of them will focus at a single point. Some of it, just like this one, will do it 360. And so, long story short, the energy that you have going out, just like a hose in a garden, you want to focus it to match your needs. So either you want to focus into a single point, or you want to focus it out into a spread. And so that's basically going to be what you're going to see with different RF signals. So you're going to have a signal source, and then you're going to have something to focus it. So just like this projector, the projector is the source, and the lens is what focuses it to make it a clear image. Now, there are different types of frequencies where some, just like the example with Wi-Fi versus signals that go to the space station, some of them can travel much, much further, and some of them can barely travel from point to point. And the difference with that is how much information can be transmitted over a distance. So either you can transmit a little bit of data over a really, really long distance, or you can transmit a lot of data, like this projector, over a very short distance, like maybe a handful of meters. So the difference in that is going to showcase in what type of signal you're using. Is it like visible light? Is it going to be GPS, GNSS? Is it going to be an X-ray, or is it going to be like a very low band radio wave? There's a bunch of different ones. And so here is a bunch of different technologies, pointer things. So we have on the really, really far side of things, we have the technologies that are going to be, let's say, really, really low data, but really, really long distance. On the purple side of things, these are the signals that are transmitted across the universe. They do happen, right? And then as we go down, this is, by the way, not at the scale. You see cell towers, that's not accurate. And then we have, going on basically down the spectrum, we have things that are going to send out more information. So like visible light is a certain spectrum. But once you go below visible light, you won't be able to see it anymore, but it will still be able to transmit. But it will be able to transmit at a very short distance. So we have frequencies below visible light, like infrared and things like that. Again, there's a whole, I could probably do a whole lecture on the different types of RF. use cases and things like that, but that's not what this is for. Just know that there are different frequencies for different things, and every frequency has a frequency band. Basically like old school TVs and actually like a TV channel or a radio channel. You have to choose it like 9, 3, 5 or whatever FM. You tune to that channel and you listen to certain information. That's the music that you hear on that channel. Or just like in TV, you go to a certain channel and you're going to be able to see that type of show or that type of movie or whatnot. This is traditional TV. Now everyone's using Netflix or whatever. Yeah, that's different. And so it's going to be the same thing. If you want to target a certain channel, then you need to tune in on that frequency, and then you'll be able to hit that frequency. You'll be able to receive that information and basically go from there. So it is literally a spectrum because it moves. But what people do is that they will hone in on a specific frequency point or a range to be able to communicate. And so a transmitter needs to be able to have that transmit frequency, and the receiver also needs to understand that they're going to be receiving data on that frequency, so they need to be able to have equipment or understand how to receive that information. So for example, you all have phones. There are two types of frequencies that we connect to, right? 2.4 and 5G, right? Can someone tell me a characteristic of 5G that's different from 2.4? Like, why do we have it two? Yeah. The length of antenna. But on our phones, you don't see the antenna, right? So yeah, the bandwidth, right? So one is 5 gigahertz, and the other one is 2.4 megahertz. So yes, they're different. But the actual characteristics that we can notice and we feel in our daily lives, 5G is typically faster, right? If you buy a router, you see 5G's got 5 gigabits a second, I don't know, whatever. And then 2.4, maybe 3, 600, maybe a gigabit a second. But also the range, right? 2.4G, you typically can get connected to further away. 5G, you might need to get an extender or whatnot to be able to connect to it past your main room. So these are one of the characteristics that we may notice. Is anyone here a ham operator or a radio operator? Oh, fantastic. So I'm curious, what kind of frequency bands do you guys transmit on? What kind of equipment, communications, and things do you guys use?
UHF and VHF.
UHF. Okay, so what is UHF and VHF, and what do you use it for?
Ultra high frequency.
Yeah.
And very high frequency.
Gotcha. Yeah. And what do you typically transmit on that? Who do you transmit with and stuff like that?
It's peer-to-peer.
Yeah.
And we use it too to make duplex communications for peers also.
Right. So duplex is basically between two different points. And what kind, just general communication, repeating internet traffic, or you have a radio community?
I am in the community, but I'm usually man in the middle.
Man in the middle. So you relay the traffic.
I listen.
You listen. And what do you hear? Music, things like that?
Well, I have listened to municipal police.
Okay, so you listen to police radio. Okay, that's cool. What interesting things have you heard?
Well, I have basically learned their whole hierarchy.
Okay, the hierarchy, the codes. So yeah, the police, that's a great point. The police use these radio bands, right, to communicate. And they don't use cell phone, they don't use Signal or text group chats. They use old school radio because they're in a limited area. But it covers pretty much a city, right? It covers 10, 20 miles. With the repeater, exactly. So you basically need something to receive the data and then send it back out so that it can go further. I saw a hand over here.
Yes, I also want to bring up about the VHF. Typically, you can do audio, voice communications.
Yeah.
And I use that for camping a lot.
Camping.
Distributed groups, a lot of physical boundaries and stuff. But on the UHF, with that higher level of frequency, you're able to bounce off an ionosphere and hit internationally. There's a lot of contests out there, and I was actually working with a friend who had his own personal radio tower.
Okay.
And he was participating in this competition where we would send Morse code from Alabama to Paris.
Cool. Well, do you know the longest distance of using UHF?
I do not.
And that's the one that you typically use with the International Space Station. Yeah. So yeah. If you didn't hear, people use the ultra high frequency band to transmit data from Alabama to Paris across the world. Because of the way that the frequency works, it was able to bounce off of the atmosphere. Yeah.
We used UHF and S-band to communicate with our low-orbit satellites, so that's about 150 kilometers.
Fantastic. Yeah. So that's huge. Yeah.
We use 146.58 megahertz for sending SSTV news. Pretty great.
To who?
To everybody at Defcon.
Fantastic. And so, on that point, who here has a mesh tastic? Oh, okay, fantastic. So with the mesh tastic, it's using low realm land, which I believe is 1.1 megahertz.
It's like under the ham radio licensing.
Yeah. So it's using a band that you don't need to get a license for, and you're not restricted. So like there are restricted channels, military communications, government, FAA, things that you definitely cannot be on. And then there are bands that you need a license for. You can just go take a radio. Do they have the radio tests here?
You can take basic there.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, they have them here. You can get it, and then you can officially get your call sign and then go on those bands. And then they have the unregistered ones or the open ones where you don't need a license. You can just transmit. And so Meshtastic utilizes a protocol that is on that band, and so as you may have seen, there's all sorts of messages going off on the Meshtastics, and it's actually kind of interesting. And so actually with Meshtastic specifically, there are different things that you could do with it. I don't know if anyone has been programmatically sending things out, but if you're able to start seeing that, that's one of the ways that people are able to use it for things from advertising all the way to just disrupting and blocking out a channel entirely. And no one can really do anything about it, right? It's just to transmit. Unless someone basically does a fox hunt, finds out where you are, and then like destroys your device or whatever it is. So there's a slew of things. Yes?
I also want to add like Meshtastics. You're like basically like the more people that have Meshtastics, the more you have like you create like a space of meshes. So like all these messages can hop on these different nodes to like whoever you're trying to send a message to. And you can even create like encrypted chats with like 156 like encryption key or whatever. So the other person has to have like an encryption key in our different channel. It's really cool. If you haven't gotten one, you should definitely.
Yes, so do they sell them here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So, yeah, what she's saying is like, it's peer-to-peer. So another device that does this is, who has an AirTag? A lot of us, right? Or the Android version. I got a Me Tag. The way that those work is really similar. It uses the Bluetooth band, Bluetooth frequencies, and it basically does the same thing. It says, hey, my device is here, and then from there, when you're traveling around, and it goes and sees other Find My Phone or other AirTags, it's going to communicate with them and then say, hey, I was here at this location, and then when that AirTag goes around a phone and connects to the internet, it will then publish it to a cloud and then tell the user, the owner of the device, hey, I saw your device last here. Because those devices, they don't have SIM cards, they don't connect to the Wi-Fi, right? But they still work. And so there's a type and a class of communication devices called the peer-to-peer mesh nodes. The Find My Device is one of them, and the Meshtastic is another one that you can communicate on.
AirTags actually are not mesh, it's like consoles.
Yeah.
AirTags do not communicate with each other, they communicate with the phones. So AirTags broadcast and the phones listen to the broadcast and upload to the cloud.
Yes. The Meshtastics can communicate with each other. The Find My, it goes to the cloud, just for the host. Alrighty. Alright, so the basics of EW. So we've covered civilian or like basic usage of these frequencies, and some of the basic components, right? Antennas and so there's transmission devices. Does anyone have a radio on them? Oh, perfect. Yeah, so basically a radio's a transmission device. On the radio, there's an antenna. That's basically how it's going to function. And so one of the most prevalent things that you'll see, especially now in Ukraine and whatnot, is jamming. So, okay, it's not a secret. The Russians like to deny all type of digital systems, digital communications. So just imagine an environment where your phone doesn't work, radios don't work, nothing works, and if you do decide to turn something on, you might have a mortar or artillery coming your way. So you don't turn on anything. It's basically a black hole. So there are different types of jamming. There's, I'm going to talk about different types here, but the idea of it is where you basically disrupt the service of whoever's trying to communicate. So for example, with Meshtastic, if you just spam out messages and everyone can't communicate because your messages are spamming and you're doing this with a program, you've successfully jammed the channel. There's no one's going to be able to communicate because their phone is just being, or their device is just being spammed with messages. That is one type of jamming. That is basically, I don't know if I would call it a protocol weakness, but you're just basically spamming stuff, right? There are other types of it. This one that you're seeing here is basically similar to just noise, where imagine you're at, let's say, an orchestra, and then someone plays very, very heavy, like static sound music, and no one can hear the music anymore. That's another type, where you're basically just flooding noise onto things. And then there's the other type where, did anyone do the drone hacking village thing, where you were hacking the drone's frequency to control it? So there's another, hacking into Wi-Fi and things like that, and doing deauths. Anyone? Okay, perfect. Does anyone have a Ponagachi? Okay, perfect. So yeah, Ponagachis are a little device like these. And actually, we can pass around. If someone wants to see a Ponagachi, just do a pass around. These are Ponagachis. So, the Ponagachi we passed around. This is basically a device that will look at the networks in the area based on the SSID, the name that you connect to the network with. And then what it's going to do is it's going to try to find someone connected to the wireless network, kick them off, and then they will reconnect. It will grab the secret handshake that the person used to reconnect, and then tries to find the password, right? But in that process, the deauth process is what actually is going to jam or disrupt your usage of Wi-Fi. It's going to literally kick someone off the Wi-Fi. Even if it's a moment, it's still a form of jamming. That one is a protocol type due to the weakness of 802.11, and that's how that basically works. But yeah, there's a handful of them. So I recommend, if you want to kind of get more hands on that, there actually is a workshop in the aerospace village area where you can hijack a drone to then take over its flight controller utilizing the protocol kind of disruption method. So that's kind of interesting to check out. All right, so let's see. There is, okay, so on the topic of the noise jamming, this is the most popular thing that's going to be out. Because the problem with protocol-based jamming is you need to know what protocol is being used, you need to know how it's communicating, and then you need to try to find the weakness. Now this is common in places where there are a lot of controls on jamming. Everyone's playing by the same rules with transmit power. And then things with like the Meshtastic, like message flooding, also kind of another like protocol. There's no stopgap. But what we'll see in modern jamming scenarios is they don't know what frequency you're going to use. They don't know where you're going to use it. They don't know what devices you're going to use, what frequency, what radio. So there's a few things. There's spot where they know that there's a device, like a satellite dish, for example. They want to disrupt the satellite dish from receiving the satellite photos from orbit. So what they're going to do is they're just going to point a directional jamming device that will just flood that one point with a ton of signals, so that all the signals that that satellite dish is receiving is just garbage, right? That's doable, especially from distance, because satellite dishes are really big, and all you have to do is just set up a camp, maybe like 10, 15 miles away, point a jamming system at it, and it's basically done. So that's basically a spot. Then there's barrage, where you have absolutely no idea what's going on, and you don't want anyone to communicate on anything. Radio, phone, GPS, other GNSS systems, anything like that. You just transmit a really, really cancer-inducing device. It's really, it's going to take a lot of power. It's got a big antenna. It's going to be similar. It's either going to be a directional, or it's going to be that antenna that you saw earlier, and just do a 360. And it's just going to be running. It's going to run really hot, and it's just going to push out all signals in all directions, just so that anything in that area will not be able to communicate. And that's what we're seeing. So, for example, if there's,
How big are those devices?
how big are those devices? You're familiar with those like camping tent things on top of cars? They're about that size. Yeah, so they're pretty small, because all you really need is power supply, which is the car battery, or another car battery on the top, and then you have the antenna, which is built into those like tent things, and then from there, I can pull it up, and then from there it transmits everything. So let's see, this will be good. Let's see, pull it up. These are like the super big ones, but they have some. Actually, it's probably easier to find. It's camping tent car top. The stealth ones, because like storage. It's like a storage. Camping top. My keywords are not working too well. It looks kind of like this. So they just go, the ones that are stealthy, they go like this, because basically what happens is that if the jammer is recognized on a vehicle, then basically enemy will say, oh, that's definitely a high value target, then they go for that. So everything has to be camouflaged into everyday equipment. But yeah, there's the serious ones. They look really big. So you can see right here, it's a big vehicle. There's a bunch of antennas going off of it. This would basically be one of the vehicles that does the barrage jamming. The problem with these is they're really big. They use a lot of power, and they get targeted pretty quickly. So it's a combination of stealth, camouflage, and also having something with a lot of power that's in a compressed, compact space that you can't really tell from a distance.
Perfect answer, thank you.
No worries. Yeah.
So something similar is used for naval and air operations, correct?
Probably. The thing is, there's no air operations in Ukraine. I wouldn't know.
Oh, okay.
Or Navy. The Black Sea is mined to the teeth. I have no idea of anything that happens here. And yeah, if you hear an aircraft out there, you look up. It's not a great sound. It's a little interesting. So yeah, that's barrage, and then sweep. Okay, so sweep is a more intelligent method of doing the barrage, where you're just like shooting out all different frequencies at as high of a power as possible. And you want sweep is good, and actually, if does anyone have a half RF?
Yeah, right here.
Okay, perfect. So a half RF, this device here has the ability to, is that with the porta pack or just the half RF?
That's
Okay.
all I have.
Yeah, so this is a SDR device. It's really cool. It has the ability to receive. Did you grab any airplanes that flew over?
No, I'm
You
not
grabbed
sure
it?
set that up. I don't have AM right now.
Gotcha. So this device has the ability to listen for naval ships or any kind of ships that have to transmit that they're in the water, to planes, to all sorts of things. You could probably listen to radio as well. And also it has the ability to transmit. I believe the transmit is what, like 1 watt?
Hack RF1's operating frequencies is 10 megahertz to 6 gigahertz.
Yeah, it's a huge band. Yeah, so it has a really large one. Yeah.
And it has the ability to do a spectrum analyzer too.
This spectrum, okay, so let me pull it up. Let's see, hack RF port of hack. It's the looking glass.
Definitely can't do a lot. It's like 30 milliwatts or something.
Huh?
It's like 30 milliwatts.
Oh, okay, it's tiny. It's tiny. So yeah, this is the convenient version of it. So actually, hack RFs are used a ton out there because it's is really how do I turn this on? Alright. So hack RFs are actually really useful for troubleshooting things. These don't have a lot of power. You said what, 30 milliwatts? So it has barely any transmit due to the board, but this is pretty nifty. So you can see right here that this looking glass can check out some frequencies. And so here it says 420 at the top. That's the frequency band on the minimum, and then the maximum is 450. And right here, that red marker, kind of hard to see. It says 436.18. And then right here, you can see this has a line. These are different signals that you'd be able to hone in on. So if you move the marker to those signals, and then you use devices, or even this device, you'd be able to hear what kind of information is going on. And typically it's going to be audio or something of that nature. And so there are devices that you can use to listen to things. But this thing also has the ability to kind of do jamming. It's not anything crazy, but it has the ability to either do a full spectrum jam, meaning that this whole thing will light up like a Christmas tree, and every frequency in that range is going to be extremely loud, or it can do something called sweeping, where it can conserve its power and focus in on one kind of band at a time. And anyone here familiar with aircraft and things like that? Yeah. Okay, so
I know it exists, and you can use it to do Wi-Fi DDoS.
right. So it's let's see. I believe it's AirPlay is the module in the aircraft suite where you actually do deauthentication. But if you actually look at how it's jamming or deauthenticating the users on the Wi-Fi frequency, it doesn't do it all at the same time. What it does is, so in the US there are 12 Wi-Fi channels on 2.4. What it will do is, for 3 seconds, it will go to channel 1 and it'll try to kick anyone off the network. And then for 3 seconds it goes to 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, 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 9, 10, 11, 12. And then goes back to 1. So that's a sweep. Because it doesn't actually have the ability, well, you need an array of 12 different antennas and Wi-Fi cards, but instead of trying to jam out everything and cause a disruption all at once, it will selectively target every single frequency range and try to keep people off of each one of those individually, and then basically you can also tell it to do specific ones. So let's say that you know a target likes to be on, for the sake of this talk, like point here, they like to be on bands 1, 6, and 12. Typically those are like defaults for some devices. What it's going to do is it's only going to transmit on 1, 6, and 12, or deauth on 1, 6, and 12. This will save energy, because why do not brute force? It will save a lot of energy, it will save a lot of power, save a lot of time as well, to ultimately disrupt the connected devices or the communication that's happening on those. Alright. So, okay. Alright, so this, I'm going to go over something here. So, I'm going to go over basically a protocol well, no, this one's probably jamming noise based. Basically, this is a scenario where there's a drone in the air, a jamming device with high power, high transmit on basically whatever frequency that the drone is using to fly, or you call that the telemetry frequency. If it doesn't have a backup to hover, it will then shoot at it, transmit that information, and then that drone is going to see it, and it's going to be disconnected from the operator and basically fall down. So that is one of the methods, the most common method used. And then I'm going to showcase something here. Let's see if this is audio. Hi. This is Sammy Kamkar. He's the guy who hacked MySpace. He made a software called Skyjack, which is actually quite interesting. It isn't good for my What it basically is it uses any kind of like Wi-Fi card that's supported, like one of these EMAX, and it runs. Where is it running from? Okay, so it basically will take a drone in the middle of flight. He flies another drone towards it. There's not really a good demo for it. Oh, here it is. So what it's doing here is it's running AirPlay. This is a Wi-Fi driven drone, like kind of like a commercial toy, but basically it sees the target drone that's flying, and then there's another drone running basically a jamming system, a de-authentication system. Oh, perfect, thank you. And then what it's going to do is it's going to fly towards said target drone, the one that's not being controlled by you, and it will send these de-authentication packets towards that, get it kicked off, and then you have the ability to take it over. And so there's a lab for this at the Aerospace Village where you can basically do just that and learn how to hijack commercial drones. So if there's ever a drone flying around your place, you can de-authenticate it, maybe it'll fall down, maybe not, maybe you get a free drone, who knows. It's interesting. And you learn how to do that here at Defcon. Yeah.
So like I've seen in the videos like particularly like in China, I think they have like this glass gun that just like shoots at you. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Amazing.
Right, of course.
These.
Yeah. So like why is it that shape in particular? And
Okay, so let me see. And again, these are a bunch of other different systems. So this is a Yagi with 2 more directionals. That one's it looks like an Omni. These are single direction, and these are again, as long as you think of it like a hose, like a hose nose, then it kind of focuses it. Yeah.
Have you been seeing a lot of coherent beamforming?
What beamforming?
Coherent beamforming?
No, it's too expensive, it's too fancy, and it's easier just to get a dedicated. They build the antennas. They basically just cut and make what they need, Yagis, or they get them machined and they make them from there. Problem with so beamforming is where you are able to kind of dynamically create the frequency that you need, but it's not as efficient since it's not literally cut and dedicated for what they need. And a lot of these jammer systems, especially the ones that you see in China, are just going to be made for it because it's way easier, cheaper, and more effective just to make the antenna specifically for what frequency you need. And also, if it gets destroyed, then you just make another one, and the cost of that is pretty low. Let me see. So let's see if we can grab one of these. Oh, this one's a pretty nifty one. I've seen a couple of these. These are basically a backpack that gives you like a bubble area around you to protect yourself from FPV drones, the RF kinds. And those are based on the shape. It's basically an omnidirectional kind of thing. And you also see that there's a fan. They get hot. Yeah, the battery's going to be back there. So there's going to be a lot of those.
What is the range action?
500 meters, maybe a kilometer, which is pretty much what you need. The big one, the big military equipment vehicle thing, probably has a range of like 10 kilometers. But the range of artillery is 20, so yeah. It will protect you against the drones, not protect you against something else. Yeah?
A question for you. A lot of this seems to be attacking the command and control of the drones, but the Iranians have taken the position of attacking the GPS to redirect the drones. Is that no longer viable, or that's why we're always going against the command and control now?
Okay, so in the context of Ukraine, they're not using GPS. They got a camera, and they're flying based on sight and memory of the terrain. So GPS isn't really used. They don't do waypoints.
Well, GPS uses what allows the stability of the drone. It has to know where it is to be able to keep itself stable.
Oh, these are manually driven. They're all manually driven. Because, you're right. So, if you put a GPS on these things, you can spoof the location, and there's a lot of that. One time, they were spoofing Kyiv to be the border of Russia. It was really funny. So that the drones fly back on waypoints. But because everything's manually driven, and the operator's in a foxhole with basically, so actually what, let me pull it up. FPV ground station. So what they do is that they have a ground station like this to actually fly the thing. And then what they do is they have a secondary, here, this person. So they have a ground station, the computer that they actually fly something on. And then they have a repeater tower, which is actually sending out the signal. And then they have like, I don't know, a 20-meter cable. And then they wire that underground. And then they fly. So if mortar fire is going to hit, it's going to hit the repeater tower. But they're flying it manually because that way it won't get traced back. Yeah?
They basically mount that repeater module is what they call a wing drone. They put it very high in the air so that you can actually increase your range by like 10 kilometers.
Yes, yeah. So this is my friend's lab in Kyiv. Okay, so someone asked, what do they look like? They look like this. This is a fancy jamming system. So batteries, cooling, clover antennas. These are made in-house. These are spools from 3D printers. They don't make custom stuff. They do a lot of 3D printing stuff there. And then, yeah, a bunch of cooling. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different bands that they are, transmitting on.
What kind of amplifiers are they using, Michael?
Chinese ones.
Okay.
They don't make them there. So the amplifiers are on different specific frequency, and they can go, I think, up to like 5 watts. Some of them are 10 watts. Oh, I did bring one of those 50 watts. That was a cancer inducing. That was great. Yeah.
Are there anti-jamming devices? Like cameras?
There is. I can get to that. The anti-jamming kind of things, because yes, but it's it's a non-jammable device. It's not anti-jamming. Yes, there are anti-jamming technologies where you can do things like spread packets or just have higher transmit. The term is jam resistant. Jam resistant, yeah. All right.
What about autonomous drones that could like target without connection to the command and control based just on AI and image from the camera?
Yes. Okay. All right. So what he asked is, what about drones that can fly using computer vision, utilizing the camera, what it's seeing, and general waypoints and things like that? Correct?
Yeah.
So, yes, this is fun. One is you need to have the compute on board to be able to do that, which is not that bad. A good TPU or NPU high tops device on a Raspberry or something can do that. Then 2, you have to have the ability to do the computer vision to recognize targets dynamically. And then 3 is you need to have a general waypoint to know which kind of direction you're flying, or what they're using is they're using gyroscopic based blind flying, so that they know they're not utilizing GPS. They know that if they just keep flying northeast and they have some kind of speedometer that says, I think I've flown about this distance, they can still fly in that direction without internet connection. So yes, there are challenges with it. It is possible, but there's a lot of false positives with AI vision, computer vision. It might detect something wrong, and then jamming is an issue. And also, the main thing is that there is no confirmation of hit, so they don't like to use those because it's all on board. It's basically spread, just let it go and pray it hits, because you won't be able to receive that telemetry back. It's all on board. You might be able to receive some telemetry, but they've got more people that are able to fly manually and hit, and also they don't want to send those things out.
Yeah, but if your purpose is not hit on a specific target, but just like hit the city, just like Russians hit like buildings.
They're made out of concrete. They were made
they
to.
They don't care what they hit. They just need to hit.
They could do that, but it's more strategic than that. Since one, all those buildings out in the ex-Soviet countries, ex-USSR, they're all made of concrete. About like at least a foot of concrete. If it's going to hit anything, it's just going to hit basically a bunker that people live in. It's like the walls there are not like the walls here, made of like plaster and some wood and stuff like that. It's all straight concrete. You're not going to hit much. I can sleep well. Every time I hear an air alarm, I just go back to sleep because that building is not going down anytime soon. The buildings are super secure, and also the bunkers are closed. And it's 2 in the morning. What am I going to do? So yes, they could do it, but also it's for them it's a waste of resources. But for interceptions, it would be a lot better because they are able to actually see the target that they're able to hit and then go about it that way. So there are basically jam-resistant methods to doing things, but they haven't employed it much because the manual method is just so much more effective. That's basically. And then this is a ground station. So here's the computer that they fly on. Here's the cable to create distance, and then here is the basically ground station tower. So it goes up really high. It's got a bunch of antennas on it, and it basically helps to give that drone extra distance. And also, when you give it more power like this, it makes the devices more jam resistant, as you're saying, so that they can't easily be taken down by external transfer. Yeah?
They usually set up these repeaters at night, or
it's very quick to set one up. You just put the thing up because you don't want to be in a position for longer than 30 minutes. The batteries on these things maybe last 10 to 15, and after they know where you are, you get to leave very, very quickly. Yeah?
Are there any techniques for preventing signal use? So not to give away location, for example, essentially a bubble to prevent the signal from getting out. Are there any techniques into it?
You ever been outside and someone's playing really, really loud music at like 9 p.m.?
Yeah.
You know where they are. So that's the. They will know where they will find you, 100%. If you're transmitting and you're loud in the middle of an open field, which is functionally what Ukraine's battlefield is like, they will find you.
So what's the range for controlling the drone? Depending, I guess.
Up to 20 kilometers. Up to 20 kilometers. I typically on a single setup like this.
But 20 kilometers, I guess you are using like megahertz, not gigahertz.
Like 900 megahertz.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Sub gigahertz. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else kind of cool to show and tell. These are what they kind of look like if you're ever curious. This is a weight. This is a weight. Not nothing explosive. So on the back, there's a radio, there's the battery, kind of just zip tied on, sometimes with the Velcro, and then just motors, and it's bare just like that. Yeah.
What protocol are these using for? Like, do you guys use ELRS?
ELRS and Crossfire are the
Crossfire,
most common. Since Crossfire, like Team Black Sheep stuff is nice.
Yeah.
But ELRS is
Do
cheap.
you guys use ELRS for the reliability and active transmission?
Yeah, but also Crossfire is really good at that.
So,
But Crossfire is like real pricey.
Yeah.
ELRS is like, and also Crossfire has like more proprietary. You have to get the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fly ELRS, which is what I was wondering.
You do drone racing?
Not racing, but I do freestyle.
Cool. Yeah.
A quick question about the flight control systems.
The ground station?
Yes. Is the typical tactic with this operation of just like doing a quick setup and send the drone out and just leaving the station there? Just
No, you try to take it with you.
take it with you?
Yeah, you try to take it with you. It's pretty. You just wrap the cable and then. Yeah. Optimally, yes, but then you have to be doing something super risky to just leave it. You'd have to be hearing things. You'd have to literally be hearing something to just leave it. Yeah.
This might show my ignorance, but like when I'm imagining the drone being flown from a position, the transmission signal to fly it, the command is coming from one direction, and typically the jammer, I assume, is coming from the other direction, because they're.
Yes, unless there's a flank scenario.
Okay. I'm just wondering, is there a way to shield the drones from jamming in one direction while leaving the command?
Yeah. So you see how the antennas in the back?
Yeah.
Right? They just transmit at ungodly power levels, and yeah, I mean it's a one-way flight.
Yeah. You can't build like a Faraday, like some sort of.
It would
shield.
probably mess up with the aerodynamics.
Yeah.
You could, but if they're not using it.
It would also work reverse for yourself if you have to turn the drone around for any reason.
Sure.
Now your signal can't reach the drone either.
Yeah. Yes.
Is there a way that you can change frequency midair so you can't get clear channel?
Yes. Yes. So you'll need two antennas, and then you can do frequency hopping. And so 5G does this pretty well, actually. For like our Wi-Fi, if there's interference on like one part of the band, it just swaps over to another one, and it keeps you connected unless you move very far away. So yes, you can. These are things that you can do. So yeah, there's probably a whole talk on how you can counter jamming systems using a variety of technologies. Cage shielding, which is one, frequency hopping, transmit counter, custom protocol, things like Crossfire, for example, is real versatile. That thing's hard. You can have the jammer right up next to it, and it won't do a thing. It's pretty good. Yeah.
What's the priority of taking out these signal jammers?
Very, very high, but they're in very, very, very hard to get to places. Like you know where they are, it's loud, but you don't want to go nearby them. So basically, the rule of thumb is artillery has a range of 20 kilometers. So you have to be within 20 kilometers to hit the thing. So take your risk. Yeah, the priority is high, obviously, but like because those exist, all technology does not work on the field. It's it's trench warfare. It's World War II stuff. That's basically where things are at. Yeah. So.
How much does a spool of the fiber cable weigh?
The weight?
Yeah.
About the weight on a 20 kilometer is about 3.5 kilograms, and the payloads, this weight is also about 1.5 kilograms. So these things, the motors are very strong. Yeah. And so, okay, so what he was asking is, let's get some context going. Okay? On the topic of anti-jammable systems, we have something that looks like this. It looks kind of like a drone with like a spider web coming out of the back of it.
Like a fish line.
Yeah, like a fish line. Okay. What that is a fiber optic cable, raw fiber optic cable, no coating, no sleeve. Usually when you have a fiber optic cable, you get it from your ISP, it's like yellow or something like that, and then you have the adapter you plug it in. That is literally just straight fiber. And so the jamming has gotten so bad, and yeah, priority number one, take them out. Great, yeah, it's harder, easier said than done. It has gotten so bad, they said, screw it, we don't care anymore. We're not even gonna bother trying to get around the jamming. We're gonna fly with a cable, jam that. And the crazy thing is that these cables have a range of, right now, up to 30 kilometers. So you can be a whole city over, a whole entire zone over, and still hit. And so right now, these are so freaking effective that a random cornfield looks like that. Each one of these is a run from a fiber drone. Zooming down, and this is just random cornfield. You should see the really, really busy ones. There's a video of a guy walking through the field, and his leg is just like a swamp full of fiber optic cable. So he was asking how much weight do a spool of fiber, let me pull that up, fiber optic, TGR, launch. So one of these, the weight on these things, once you re-spool them down to something more aerodynamic, about 3 kilograms plus or minus.
How big a drone would need to be carrying that and the payload?
About 10 inches. The wing. Yay big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are those then 5-inch or 7-inch drones, like for power length? You said it was 10-inch for the frame, right?
Yeah, they use 7-inch props and higher, and actually a lot of the bigger ones, like the 15-inch drones, are using 10 to 15 props. Big. So yeah, the point being is that you cannot jam this. There's no signal. There's no RF. There's no noise aside from the actual sound of it. And that's a whole rabbit hole. So you won't be able to do anything with signals on that aspect there. All right. Let's see what else interesting toys they've got in their setup. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, these are my friends out in Ukraine now, and they do a lot of cool stuff.
Are they like 3D printing most of these drones? Cause I read like they're going through like 1,000 drones a day. So are they just using like commercial off-the-shelf hobbyist parts?
No, they get you have the carbon fiber you have to laser cut a carbon fiber or CNC out a carbon fiber sheet. 3D print will not survive this look. Yeah, but they do 3D print a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Yes.
So, would you say the era of larger drones like the Predator drones is probably done, and it's going to be going to something about the size that you just demonstrated as a regular thing?
Are you familiar with the spiderweb operation?
No, not really.
So basically, what happened is that they sent a bunch of shipping containers.
Oh yeah, that I know about. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the operation, and it devastated a lot of airfields.
Right, and that's what I was kind of thinking about. Is that would not be possible with the American standard Predator drones?
Yeah, there's no way we can fly one over. And,
Right.
and those were all manually flown because they wanted to hit something. So that's why the AI thing is like, if you have such a high priority target and you have that opportunity, you're getting someone that's highly skilled to manually fly it because you want to hit that target. The AI might think a lake is a plane because of the lighting. That's what happens in the computer vision sometimes, and it would just fly over it. So you want to hit, you got to have someone hands-on RC to be able to do that. And so yeah, and the thing with that is like these drones are so small they don't show up on radar. They're tiny. They're birds larger than birds. So yeah, it's not on radar, and it can take out a multi-million-dollar aircraft, and you can't really do much about it aside from put up nets and also run a bunch of jamming. But then that also will disrupt your own stuff. So it's shifting the whole paradigm. Yeah.
A follow-up question, because this one's close to my heart. Is there any future directed energy on the interdict of these drones, or do you think that they've just gotten too small and too fast for that to be viable?
For
Lasers.
Lasers. You gotta detect it first, right? Lasers will work because the propellers are made of basically injected plastic, and you can melt them.
Okay, I'm working on a bunch of projects like that.
Yeah, but you gotta detect them, and
Right.
they're fast. They move about some will move about 100 miles an hour, and they're tiny. I was at the field, and we were doing clay trap exercises. That's what they were doing. You got maybe one shot in before it hits, and you get the shotgun kickback, and like, it's a whole thing. So they are looking at even making new ammunition because traditional ammunition doesn't work in the battlefield anymore. Buckshot is probably more useful than hollow point because you're not fighting people, you're fighting robots.
Well, you can't spend $1,000 a shot to shoot down a $100 drone.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose that battle. So
Yeah,
the cheapest
exactly.
goes out.
The war economics don't add up. So that's the only thing. And we're seeing 3D printed bullets now. That
Oh my God,
yeah, that melt out and release basically pellets. Yes.
I was saying, so we envisioning something more like a portable flat.
What?
Back in World War II, the air burst flat things.
Yeah. I mean that will do. that would be crazy. But yeah, and that you can make that work, and that's the answer is yes, but to a certain extent, because you can't, like, depending on where the projectile comes in from. If it's coming towards like a city, you're not shooting a flak towards like that. But if it's an open field, sure. But yeah. You might mess up your own stuff too. You use a ton of power, and I don't know. I just haven't seen any being used because EMPs typically have a low range, and these things are coming way too fast and way too quick and way too far away to matter. Also, let's say that it's in the EMP range and you detected and you saw it. It's already got 100 miles an hour of momentum, and it's got a dead man switch moving at you on its payload. So EMP could work if you did it like far away. It's a weird combination of speed, range, and effectiveness. Because like in a sitting room, yeah, it would work. But now try to do it on a 100 mile an hour target that's basically smaller than a beach ball. And it goes boom. So yeah, there's a lot of challenges with that.
I suppose in terms of like detecting that, we could, for example, use microphone to detect the noise of that and put some detectors like at the noise from our field and know from which direction they are coming. At least that we are worried about that.
Yeah. Acoustic detection is viable, and we can talk more about that after. But that is basically the only thing they cannot turn off, which is the sound of the motors and the propellers. And if you had a mesh or something similar, you can basically figure out a general azimuth of where the detection came from. So yes, that is very viable, and that's very relevant. All right, let's see. Okay, so on that, so going back to the protocol-based stuff. This is what is kind of cool with what we can do here and in like other places. So for example, I want to showcase this. You might have seen those drone swarms that the Chinese do for their big shows, and there are also drones shows as well in the States. So I'm going to showcase one where it's going to show an entire drone swarm, and then all of a sudden you're going to see them start dropping out of the sky like flies, and it's really interesting. Yeah, that must really. I hope they have insurance. Yeah, I mean on the shit show that thing is, it probably hit someone, damage happened. It's a whole thing. Not to mention the drones are lost too. All right, so what happened there was most likely a protocol-based attack, since we didn't see them all go out. And if you actually notice, some at the top went out, and some at the bottom went out. If it was a true barrage or it was a true like focus point type jamming, they'd all go out. They'd all pretty much go out. So what's happening here is these are probably wirelessly or some kind of protocol-controlled drone system in a like a hive, all connected to the same network, all connected to the same system to be controlled by a controller to go to different waypoints for the show. And so I'm not saying that this is exactly how it happens, but what most likely happened here is that the protocol that these were connected to the controller with was exploited, and my theory is that some of them were on a newer, like updated version, some of them were not, or maybe it was just luck. But once a type of deauthentication happened, there was no fallback set on the drones to stay hovering in the air, so their next fallback is just to fall out of the sky. And so that's what you're seeing happening here. There's a workshop, or there's a whole village for that, if you want to learn how to do maybe this. I don't recommend you actually do it. But yeah, so the protocol-based disruption is a big problem, especially at scales like this.
But like, don't they like just sit down quietly? Instead they just fall down and break themselves.
This is okay. So you're talking about a landing fallback that goes down. Nice drones have that. Mavics have that. DJIs have that because they program that. If you don't program it, it says, "Oh, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm just gonna stop," and it just drops. Okay. Yeah. So the nice drones that we are used to will probably do that. But the raw, oh, you didn't program it to do that, it's not going to do that type drone will literally just fall. And so that's what you're seeing. They're just falling. Because what they do, and maybe the protocol hack was, I'll turn off your motor. Just stop flying. Go straight down. So yeah, you have to analyze how the protocol works and all that stuff. And you can do that here at the Aerospace Village. All right. Okay. What this is basically saying is that today, in the world we have now, you can go and buy HackRF and get into jamming yourself. It is no longer a big military technology with the whole thing. It is something you can just go and buy, or you can just go and set up very, very quickly. And you can go and buy some stuff on Amazon and set up yourself. So and make up your own antennas. You can cut them, you can wire them, 3D print fixtures and whatnot. So Ukraine is like a big example of that. It's a whole DIY hobby military force with equipment. Some of it, yes, is official equipment, but a lot of it is, as you saw earlier with the jammer, 3D printed equipment, 3D printed spools, the homemade antennas, and that stuff works. So let's say, access to these types of technologies are very widespread. Yeah?
One quick thing I want to add, because I have an HackRF.
Yeah.
I have zero experience with RF, except for 3 weeks ago, when I ordered the HackRF off of Amazon.
Yeah.
I used ChatGPT to help me start setting up GNU Radio Companion.
Yeah.
Led into, hey, here's how to set up frequency spectrum analysis, where you have a slider where I can just slide the thing across, and I can literally see, oh, here's a spectrograph of what I'm looking at and all the signals. And I did a span of 8 weeks, and here I am. And I could set this up, hoping at this workshop with drone stuff.
Yeah, and actually, if you want to get an even more thing, you can probably grab these on AliExpress for like, I don't know, 100 or 200 bucks. They have a screen, and you just use the wheel, and you just go, oh, I want to transmit. Okay. You can jam stuff, you can send messages and things. You can receive data from the planes, the boats, replay signals, you can scan for stuff, and then you've got a screen built in. This is what they use in the field. It's just a quick the accessibility is very low. You can go and get one of these and get good at it. It's not, you don't have to be in the military and then do SIGINT or anything like that. You just go buy one of these, watch some YouTube videos, and have at it. You can start listening to the planes. This is actually how they discovered a spy plane over LA. They bought one of these. They went to the app that lets you listen to like plane transmission tags, and they noticed that there was a plane that just kept transmitting for like 12 hours a day, every single day, and they realized that there's just a plane hovering above the city. So, yeah, these are really fun because you can actually start playing with it and learning about it hands-on. It's called a Hack RF portapack. That's what these are.
The spies
Yeah,
in LA.
you can make it cheaper using RTL SDR, right?
You could, but the transmit range and stuff is, I don't think it's the same, but
it's receiving.
only receiving. Yeah, no transmit.
Yeah, but it's $20, right?
Yeah, and if you want to transmit and whatnot, just go grab it from China, and it will be cheap. And yeah, but yes, you can always DIY this stuff as well. So these are a bunch of different RF tools that do different things. So we have the Ponagachi that is there. We have a Flipper Zero. Who's got a Flipper Zero? Who's got a Flipper Zero with the RF module, the Wi-Fi thing on top? Okay, perfect. Yeah, so they have them, I think, maybe they're still in stock, I have no idea. But you basically can turn a Flipper into an RF device, do all sorts of things. You can have it jam Bluetooth, you can have it do all sorts of nifty things with the pins. There's the Hack RF on the bottom left. The one on the top left is the new kind of Ponagachi, that's Bajorn, the network raider. And that can basically go in and do things as well. And then there's the old school Ponagachi, which deauths and tries to get you the password to Wi-Fi. These are all online. You can go and just grab these. No license required. Don't be evil. All right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a little bit of a break, bathroom break, something like that. I don't know if there's food nearby. We'll find out, and then we can handle the hands-on part of things. So we'll be now actually building one of these proof of concept RF jamming systems. They don't have firmware, can't really sell them with firmware, or but you can flash it yourself whenever you want. And so on the tables there are going to be these stickers. Okay, what I'm going to do is after everyone's pretty much gotten their kits, I'm going to swap the link that's on this site over to the instruction page so that you can kind of get through the process of building it yourself. There are instructions for the PCB version, the breadboard version for those of you who brought your own components, and a few other things. So you have options. So after the break, then I will switch the link, and then we'll be able to do hands-on. Any questions? Yeah.
We'll basically, as far as I understand, we'll do jammer from Bluetooth.
2.4G, yeah.
Yeah, but as far as I understand, just for like 3 BAE channels, for example. Do the drones actually use that in the field?
2.4?
Do the drones actually use Bluetooth in the field?
No, they use 2.4 though. They use 2.4. Some of them.
So they use like Wi-Fi?
Some of them use 2.4, but not Wi-Fi.
Without Wi-Fi?
Just the frequency band, not the actual protocol.
The jammer will just jump the frequency band on 2.4, a specific band.
Yes, per device. That's how they do the drone gun things there.
Okay, so they use just proprietary stuff on 2.4.
Dedicated. Okay. So it's all open. It's open standard.
And I understand we will connect an RF4 to ESP32, right?
Yeah.
But we could use ESP32 to make jamming without an RF4.
Yeah, just for more transfer. It's just more.
Well, you could hook just an antenna to ESP.
You can, and that's what the NRF is like antenna. It's just a basic thing. There are many ways to do it. It's just the way that we found that was the easiest when we set it.
Well, the easiest is just ESP32 without an RF4.
Yeah, but it looks cool with antennas.
You can tell us that yes, people do.
Yeah.
That's the part I don't really get. But okay.
You can do it however you want. Yeah, the point is just so that it's hands on. There was another question.
Yeah, do you have the firmware for Flash?
I have a list of firmwares that would work. There's a recommended one from a Polish guy that I work with, and there's a few other ones as well.
Cool.
Yep. Alrighty. So with that being said, we'll turn the lights on, take a bit of a breather, and then we'll start wrapping up the orders. I've got two. I have a couple people that pre-ordered really early, and I want to make sure that they get their pre-assembled. And then aside from that, I think we just have kits left. So that's basically just things.